Life-Keeping, where we talk about ways to thrive in today's world. I'm your host, Lori Christine. Each one of us experiences generational patterns. Some are blessings and some are curses. Only you know for sure which patterns in your life serve you and which ones sabotage you. Generational patterns refer to the behaviors and beliefs that are passed down from one generation to the next through our families. Becoming aware of these patterns is the first step in determining if these patterns serve us or sabotage us. You can identify generational patterns by reflecting on your family history. What behaviors repeat from one generation to the next? Examples may include domestic violence, racism, sexual abuse, teenage pregnancy, unemployment, things like mental health issues, addiction. These are the obvious patterns. The not-so-obvious patterns are more insidious, almost invisible to the naked eye. Self-worth is one of those. We don't necessarily inherit low self-worth. Instead, we inherit an environment that perpetuates low self-worth. Take some time to really reflect on the patterns of your life. Look at your childhood. What was it like? Did you feel safe? Was it stable? Were you encouraged and supported in reaching your potential? If not, what types of things stood in the way? Was it specific behaviors, beliefs, or circumstances that blocked you? How can you change these behaviors or beliefs so that they serve you instead of sabotage you? Consider how different your experience was from either of your parents. Were there any similarities? I broke an unhealthy generational pattern of staying in a toxic relationship. What seemed so obvious to others was normal to me. I didn't know that I could be in a marriage that wasn't toxic on some level. It's all I knew. That's why it's difficult to break these patterns. Until you're aware of the potential to be healthy in every way possible, you have no idea this power is yours. This realization is the door to breaking the unhealthy generational pattern. But first, you have to see what you don't know, because all you know is what you know, and it's hard to differentiate between what you can have and what you do have. I also broke an unhealthy generational pattern of high blood pressure. When I was pregnant with Kira, my blood pressure went very high. Immediately following her birth, I was placed on a magnesium sulfate drip to prevent seizures. My blood pressure remained high for several months. I was told that I would require blood pressure medication for the rest of my life, as my family was filled with hypertension on both sides. I resisted this idea. I took it until I could stabilize it, and after about 9 months on the medication, I declared that I was going to go off of it. The doctor was skeptical but respected my wishes. That was in 2001. In 2023, I've had 2 instances when I had to go back on it for short periods. Each time, I've made changes that allowed me to go back off it. Both my parents were on blood pressure medication until the day they died. I chose not to accept what I was told. I questioned it and I pushed the limits. Today, my blood pressure is 120/79. I use these numbers to inform me of what I need to know related to my body. When it raises, I know that I'm experiencing too much stress and I need to chill out. My experiences have revealed the triggers for high blood pressure: diet, stress, extra weight. When I manage each of these areas, I manage my blood pressure. So I went from believing that I couldn't manage my blood pressure and that it was inevitable to having the power to manage it myself. I'm currently working with someone who has sexual abuse throughout her entire family. We are working to change how she responds to it, as well as using different strategies to prevent it. Her children have been sexually abused, but we are intervening in a way that she has never experienced. The fact that she is speaking about it with people outside of her family is a way she is breaking the pattern. Some families gossip about each other. This is another generational pattern that you have the ability to break. Some parents triangulate their children, putting one against the other. You can recognize this and stop engaging with this behavior, and don't repeat it with your children. Having a quick temper, overreacting, walking out when angry, cheating, dropping out of school, manipulative behaviors, all examples of generational patterns that generally don't serve us. We learn these behaviors based on the environment we are raised in. We can break these habits and change things for generations to come. What does it take to break these patterns? Well, it takes strong beliefs, boundaries, courage, and inner strength. I embraced various beliefs to break free and heal from generational patterns that didn't serve me. I believe that I chose to be born into my birth family. I believe that my family was able to offer me the lessons and opportunities my soul needed to evolve. I believe my family members are some of my greatest teachers. They taught me what not to do. They showed me what I didn't want. They took my power away so that when I reclaimed it, I could really appreciate it. I believe that obstacles thrown at me by my family were meant to make me empathetic, resilient, and strong. I believe that what my family thinks of me is none of my business. This was not easy, as like many of you, I had expectations. I expected my family to love me unconditionally. They did not. I expected my family to like me. They did not. I expected to be able to trust my family. I could not. My hope kept me chained. Maybe this time will be the time where they show love. Maybe this time they will treat me with empathy, kindness, or love. They did not. I accepted a lot of subpar treatment for years as I waited to be seen and loved. Family members did and said hurtful things, yet I remained loyal. These patterns were all I knew, and the thought of being without family was scary, until the thought of staying around family became even scarier. We all have that tipping point. Maybe you see the impact it is having on your feelings, your health, your other relationships. Perhaps a friend points it out to you in a way you can't refute. Maybe your daughter dies, and the lack of support you receive from your family is so minimal that you are left in shock from that too. Whatever the impetus, this is your opportunity to break the cycle of dysfunctional generational patterns. If there has been no such lightning bolt moment, you can certainly look back through your family history. Whatever keeps repeating are generational patterns. Examine whether the patterns serve or sabotage you. Even a pattern of loyalty can sabotage you if loyalty is imbalanced, like when you are loyal to individuals who do not deserve your loyalty just because they are family. Identify the toxic patterns and the usual responses. Make a commitment to yourself to respond in a different way, one that serves you, instead of the dysfunctional way you may have learned as a child. If your family does not accept you, that is your invitation. Examine your beliefs around family and what you need to endure to be in a family. Notice where you may have beliefs that limit you. I told myself they mean well. But did they? Looking back, I don't think they did. Now I choose to believe that they are just playing the parts they agreed to play. Shakespeare communicated this very thing to us when he wrote, "All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players." Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Modern Lifekeeping with Lori Christine, brought to you by Kira Kisses. I invite you to explore the characters in your play of life. Who are your greatest teachers? What have you learned from them? Where were you given opportunities to be who you are most meant to be without fear of criticism or judgment? When did this fear and judgment change who you were? In what ways have you been conditioned to be someone you weren't? Now embrace your power to become who you truly are, independent of your birth family and what they think of you. If your birth family refuses to embrace who you truly are, this is an indication that you are meant to break free from them, as so many people do. Choose to believe this is for your personal development. Dysfunctional generational patterns are the resistance that can stop us from becoming who we are most meant to be, or they can propel us to a life that serves our highest good. You can decide for yourself. For more information on readings, soul strategy sessions, individual and parenting support groups, retreats, and services, visit Kira, Keara, Kisses.com. Until we meet again, keep wondering.